Hey folks, it's Ben. I'm here with an interesting video because I've never done this before, and maybe you haven't either. But my wife was driving along the road and a vehicle threw a rock at her windshield and it hit and cracked. So what I have here is a chip in the windshield, and you can see it's got little ears on it. Not quite a bullseye, but it's obviously on its way. And here where we are, the temperature swings will cause that to get worse and worse. You know, you're on the defroster, whatever. So it'd be great to repair it. So here's the chip from the inside. And as you can tell, it's starting to get a little bigger. Well, you can't tell that, but I can tell you it's getting a little bigger. Now, I could take this to an auto glass repair shop, whatever, and for 30 bucks they could fix it. And what they would do is they'd do some sort of resin in there, and it would, fill the hole and eventually, seal it, and then they would guarantee it. So if it ever started moving or something like that, there'd be a guarantee. But it costs about 30 bucks, no big deal, but it also takes about an hour, which is a big deal because generally my wife, when she has the car in town, is doing things, and otherwise it's at home. So for $20 at Napa, you can get this. This happens to be a Permatex windshield repair kit, and it's got this little front bubble on the side, it says bullseye. But it repairs chips and cracks, scratches and bullseyes. Repairs chips, scratches and bullseyes, makes a crystal clear repair, and there's no mixing or special tools required. That being said, it comes with a set of special tools. I guess what that means is that they'll give you everything that you need. There's this little sticky here, some resin, a little syringe type device, a plastic cup, and a clear piece of plastic. And as we go through this, we'll go through step by step on how to do it. The one thing, I'll throw the warning in the front of the video, it says you need to do it in sunlight. Now, unfortunately for me, the only sunlight I see when I'm at home is on the weekends. And it's also winter time, so it's cold outside. So for mine, I'll be using this UV light because the resin apparently cures in UV light. This is just a cheap battery powered unit, but hopefully it'll do what I need it to do. But let's begin at the beginning. This is a 12-step process, and you need actually 3 things. You need a safety pin, a push pin, essentially, a safety razor or a razor blade of some kind, and a dirty rag or a rag you can have. So step 1 is to clean out the chip. And that's what the pin is for. And they want you to get in there and clean out any glass, chunks, or stuff that might still be in there. And of course the rag is to obviously wipe that area down once you get all the crap out. So this one, the way the chip is, there's not a lot of crap in there. And then they want you to take the rag and clean the area really good. And you need about an inch circle. Okay, so that's kind of clean. And then finally leave the rag on the windshield to catch anything that comes down. And they do warn that the resin will hurt paint, so please be careful with that. So that's step 1. Okay, step 2 is take this plastic disc that you see here, and it has a white adhesive on the back. And so peel that off as best you can with one hand. I'm going to knock it out of the way here for a sec so I can use both hands. Take this adhesive disc and put the center hole over the chip, just like so. And then I'm going to work my way around and press so that there are no air bubbles. And put the tab towards the top of the windshield. So this way, it's gonna, so what I think they're getting at here is we're gonna be making a vacuum seal over our crack. So we need a super seal here. Now my garage is about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and they recommend doing this between 50 and 70, but I do have a heater in the car, so it's warmer in there, and the windshield's a little warmer because of that. So I have that going for me, and I'll leave it on during the whole process. But so there's the disc, they say, and we're going to go ahead and do it. Check the inside that there are no air bubbles, and of course this is glass, and sure enough, here's our gray sticker essentially, and there are no air bubbles, maybe a little in there, but no air bubbles essentially on that sticker. Steps 3 and 4 are pretty much just one step. We're going to be taking the pedestal and gluing it to the green spot here. And that's done by peeling off the green. which is obviously another kind of backing. And then we're going to be placing the pedestal on top of it, once again making sure that we have a bubble-free connection. So we peel that off. So that was step 3. And then step 4 is to place this, making sure the holes are lined up. Yep. Place this like so. And then making sure it's smushed on correctly. Using your finger to make sure it is really on there tight. Once again, they don't want any air bubbles in this thing. So I have the camera sitting on my windshield wiper, and our next step is to take this bottle of resin that comes with the kit, and we're going to put about 3/4 of it in this hole and save the last quarter, it says, for the 10th step of the 12 we have here. So I'm going to break this top off by just twisting it. Put about 3/4 of this down the hole, which your guess is as good as mine as to how much 3/4 is of this thing. Well, it filled the little container up. So we got that. So it's in there now. Save the rest. I'm gonna go put it inside, so I'll be right back because it is cool out here and I want it to stay warm. I can't show it very well here, I guess. It's got this metal clip here and some indents on the plunger here. So what we're gonna do is this. Stick this in, make sure it's a good connection. Then I'm gonna pull it up. There's indent 1, indent 2. I'm gonna move the spring so that it sits. So what we have done is we pulled a vacuum on this. So we've essentially hopefully sucked all the air out of the cut here. But there is a suction against this. And you let it sit for 10 minutes. So we're gonna do that. So we'll see you in 10 where we'll do some more work. All right, we're ready for the next step. To reiterate what I just did though, what we did is we put resin in here, then we pulled the suction, hopefully sucking the air out of that crack and letting the resin get in the way essentially. Now we're gonna take this out and it went suck. We're gonna put it back in. And then we're going to rotate that out of the lower and we're going to put pressure on it to that other indent right there. So there's 2 indents, the one we pull vacuum on and the one we're now putting pressure on. So now we're actually pushing the resin into the crack. And then we're going to come back in 20 minutes and do some other stuff. 20 minutes later, we're back. We moved on to step number 9, which is remove the syringe from the pedestal and loosen the outer edges of the adhesive disc with the safety razor. So I'll take this off. I think we're done. Pop, so that went like that. Set that aside. Next we'll take our safety razor, if I keep you on frame here, and kind of lift up the edges. I'll get this thing cracked off, kabam, so there's that. And it said the adhesive disc, which is this as well. It says you can use the tab here to kind of peel it off. Oops, not when I fold it over on itself. You can peel this off. We're done. Pop, so that's going. You can still kind of see a little bit, but in theory it should be glued together now. And then we slowly pull off and wipe to remove excess resin. So we'll take this and wipe it away. Okay. Okay, so we've got our crack, which I think is here still. It's hard to tell, and that's awesome. Take a little resin. Place it here. Here's a drop. Then take the little clear disc that you have and go smush. It creates like a little drop. But what it's doing is it's filling in that rest of the spot there, kind of as a fill-in. And it says, remove any bubbles using razor to lightly smooth over the curing strip. So I'm not going to flood it. That's perfect, I think. And then remove any bubbles. And then on cloudy day, it says move your vehicle into the sun. Not going to happen. for 30 minutes, and on cloudy days, move the vehicle to a brighter area and park for a minimum of 1 hour. Ultraviolet rays cure the resin. Okay, well, I'm not there. I have tape, duct tape, holding this. The rag's holding it just above. I don't know how much UV light it needs, or anything along those lines, but there you go. I'm going to leave this here for the remainder of the evening. For me, it'll be about 2-3 hours. Hopefully that's enough to set the resin up so that it's not an issue anymore. Let's wrap it up. So it's about 3 hours later. We'll turn the light off. We tape all that stuff from here. So we have our resin patch. It's right there. It's then I could peel this off. Oh yeah. And maybe because why not, right? It's it seems like the oh yeah, that's where it's at. It seems like the UV light worked. It's got some rigidity to it. It's not liquid anymore. So get the rag. We can probably clean that off, but that's it. Bam. Take the rag. So in theory, that was to fix the upper damage, a different strike. This didn't have a lot of upper damage, so. Now it looks, and the camera's out of focus again. Now it looks like, where'd he go? That's good. Crap, which one is it? I think it was this one. Anyway, you can't really see it. It's very hard to see. So I think this was a success, 20 bucks. And time will tell if it cracks more or not, but that's how you do a repair kit on a windshield, especially when you got nothing to lose with the other crack. Awesome. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Leave any questions or comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for awesome updates on what I'm doing. Please check out the next video I've got lined up for you, and also check out my Patreon page if you want to support what we're doing here. And finally, check out my other less tractory page, Red Barn Homestead. You can subscribe to that too, see some awesome stuff. And we'll see you next time.